new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. Like somebody that we...
That's so true.
Yeah.
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any, is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this.
When the joke landed, the crowd couldn't stop laughing. But Greg Gutfeld didn't just leave it there. He used the moment to call out what he saw as years of double standards. He pointed out how identity politics can fall apart when someone's public message doesn't match their personal actions. Gutfeld made it clear he believed Sunny Hostin had lost some credibility. She often speaks about holding people accountable for the past, especially on issues like race and injustice. But Gutfeld argued that without honesty and balance, those conversations can easily lose their meaning and become more about blame than progress.
She is so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Exactly, because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now?
Greg Gutfeld argued that when people like Sunny turn complicated issues into simple identity-based arguments, they often ignore inconvenient facts, including the contradictions in their own stories. His comments struck a nerve with many viewers. He pointed out the irony in how Sunny often speaks out against historical injustice, yet doesn't acknowledge her own family's past connections to the very system she criticizes. Instead of addressing that truth, Gutfeld said she downplays it, which only adds to the confusion. He wasn't just calling her out. He was making a bigger point about how real accountability often gets pushed aside for dramatic outrage. The internet wasted no time reacting. Memes spread quickly and social media was full of heated opinions. Some mocked the double standard, while others stood by Sunny, saying she shouldn't be blamed for what her ancestors did.
In her defense, everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. Where for Sunny Hostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of The View, and they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now. Why I'm so stupid and fat.
This sparked a big discussion about whether public figures like Sunny should be judged by the same values they expect from everyone else. A lot of people felt that her reaction showed a lack of honesty and personal growth, especially since she has a large platform and often speaks on serious topics. Instead of facing her own family history, Sunny seemed to brush it off, and that's what really got people talking. The conversation moved from understanding family history to questioning why she wouldn't take responsibility for her own background. Things got especially uncomfortable on The View after it came out that her ancestors had owned slaves. The cheerful energy in the studio quickly faded, and an awkward silence filled the room. Over on Gutfeld's show, the atmosphere was the opposite. His co-hosts didn't hold back. They made sharp jokes and bold comments, poking fun at Sunny's double standards. One person even joked that maybe she should start calling herself out, just like she does to others. Even Whoopi Goldberg looked caught off guard, unsure of how to respond, while Rosie O'Donnell offered a more layered perspective.
Guess there's nothing worse than to find out you're a white woman.
She's so disappointed.
It's really disappointing.
Her mother was white.
Oh my
The
god.
shame.
Oh my god.
History and finds out that this is fantastic. She is descended from slaveholders. She's descended from slaveholders, and she's been apparently getting a lot of mail about her call for reparations because it turns out she's going to be paying them and not actually receiving.
She stressed the idea that people should be judged by what they do, not by who their ancestors were. She also warned people not to water down complicated issues like race and history into simple talking points. Her message highlighted how uncomfortable truths can force people to think deeper and question long-held beliefs. But not everyone saw it the same way. Some people felt it was a chance for Sunny to take ownership of her words and maybe grow from the moment. Others thought she missed that opportunity completely, instead coming across as unwilling to look in the mirror. There was clear tension around how she responded, and many accused her of not living up to the same expectations she puts on others. Her unwillingness to directly face her own family history made things worse, especially since she's often vocal about calling others out. Some said it was yet another example of identity politics backfiring. Everyone has a complicated background, and Sunny's situation reminds us that if you expect others to be accountable, you should be ready to do the same. How she handles this moment might end up shaping how she's remembered in the public eye. Things only got messier when attention turned to her husband, Dr. Sunny Hostin, who is reportedly tied up in a major lawsuit. The case involves shocking claims of insurance fraud, kickbacks, and over 180 people listed in the legal documents. At the center of the case is an alleged scheme to trick the healthcare system, fake insurance claims, unnecessary surgeries, and even patients being put under anesthesia for no good reason. If the charges turn out to be true, this could become one of the biggest medical scandals in years. It's not just another legal problem, it could seriously shake up trust in the healthcare world.
View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked, half baked, and you went on stage with it. And it's nothing. Just go for it.
Sunny Hostin's husband is now facing serious legal trouble, but things took a bigger turn when his lawyer, Daniel T8, fired back. He called the lawsuit baseless and claimed the insurance company was just trying to hide its own financial issues. But the heat really turned up when people started asking what Sunny might have known. Some say she was fully aware of what was going on with her husband's alleged fraud scheme. Joe Rogan even chimed in. He pointed out how Sunny has often criticized others for spreading false medical advice, yet now she's possibly tied to someone accused of doing something much worse. Rogan didn't hold back, saying it seemed hypocritical. His comments added fuel to the fire and put more pressure on Sunny, who's now stuck between defending her personal life and protecting her reputation. It's not just about one court case anymore. It's about how we view public figures, especially ones who present themselves as moral voices. People are now wondering if Sunny will speak out, stay silent, or try to distance herself. In a totally different controversy, country singer Carrie Underwood also got dragged into the spotlight. She agreed to sing at the presidential inauguration, and instead of being praised, she got slammed. People couldn't understand how she could say she loves her country while performing at an event for someone with a criminal record. Carrie, known for staying out of drama and focusing on her music, was suddenly labeled a supporter of someone she just agreed to sing for. The performance wasn't what upset people. It was what they believed the performance symbolized. It shows how political opinions can quickly turn admiration into outrage.
It has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation? They have. And that's
Sunny Hostin's husband is now facing serious legal trouble, but things took a bigger turn when his lawyer, Daniel T8, fired back. He called the lawsuit baseless and claimed the insurance company was just trying to hide its own financial issues. But the heat really turned up when people started asking what Sunny might have known. Some say she was fully aware of what was going on with her husband's alleged fraud scheme. Joe Rogan even chimed in. He pointed out how Sunny has often criticized others for spreading false medical advice, yet now she's possibly tied to someone accused of doing something much worse. Rogan didn't hold back, saying it seemed hypocritical. His comments added fuel to the fire and put more pressure on Sunny, who's now stuck between defending her personal life and protecting her reputation. It's not just about one court case anymore. It's about how we view public figures, especially ones who present themselves as moral voices. People are now wondering if Sunny will speak out, stay silent, or try to distance herself. In a totally different controversy, country singer Carrie Underwood also got dragged into the spotlight. She agreed to sing at the presidential inauguration, and instead of being praised, she got slammed. People couldn't understand how she could say she loves her country while performing at an event for someone with a criminal record. Carrie, known for staying out of drama and focusing on her music, was suddenly labeled a supporter of someone she just agreed to.
Star Carrie Underwood has spent most of her career avoiding political talk, but she's set to perform at the upcoming inauguration. She said in a statement that she's doing it because the country must come together in the spirit of unity and look to the future. And lots of her fans aren't thrilled about it, but lots of her fans are. So let's put this in perspective here. What do y'all think?
I personally hope we're moving beyond the era of politics where we want to cancel people's livelihoods because we don't like their politics. And whether it was the Dixie Chicks for criticizing George Bush, didn't agree with it then, and Carrie Underwood, if you have a problem, you register your complaint by not downloading your songs and not going to her shows.
Right.
But I also think from a business standpoint, it's not a bad decision for Carrie Underwood. 75 million people voted for Trump. Artists tend to skew left-leaning, so she's overnight going to become an icon of MAGA in the American right. She's probably going to make a lot of money off of it. So I get why she did it.
Understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted